Well, good morning and welcome back to another edition of the Bakersfield Business Partners podcast. My name is Duncan Harris. I'm the owner of Insurance Savings Group and past president of Bakersfield Business Partners. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably searching for a networking group or something to grow your business here in Bakersfield, and that's what we have. We're a BNI chapter. We consist of about 30 members of owners, decision makers, salespeople. We meet every week, and the idea of the group is to pass referrals and grow our businesses, but we gain so much more than that through education and through relationship with the members. So we absolutely have the best group. That's why we started this podcast, to highlight our membership. Although one of our worst members is here with us today. No, that's a joke. No. Good morning, Marvin. Say hello, introduce yourself, and tell us what you do.
Good morning, Marvin Bush, and I do real estate and everything to do with real estate.
Well, thanks for coming back on the podcast. I know you've been on this one a time or two.
Yes.
It's always fun. I always like to get, a market update from you, but, just in general, kind of tell us like what your job is, what your role is, as you see it as an agent with your clients.
Well, my job with buyers is to help people realize the American dream. I mean, that's in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And so I always tell everybody that I'm actually a counselor, and I also sell real estate on there, because that's a big part of our job, is counseling people, buyers or sellers.
You're holding their hand essentially through this
keep
stressful
them
process.
on track
Yeah.
through the whole process and stuff. So it's a little in depth. It's not just showing a few houses and writing a contract. There's quite a bit more to it than that.
Sure.
So
Can be very emotional, very stressful.
I think that your home, purchasing or selling a home, is probably the most emotional purchase or sale that you will ever experience in your life, because there's nothing more personal than someone's home.
And what about sellers? You obviously work with people selling their homes. Anything going on there? Anything that maybe sets you apart from other agents?
Well, I think one of the biggest differences with me is that I flip homes all the time.
Okay.
And whenever I walk through a home with somebody, I can give them some pretty good recommendations on what they should do to your home, what buyers are actually looking for. Give them some pretty accurate information as far as costs to do repairs or, just improve the overall condition of the property.
Mm-hmm.
And then also too, like I said, a big part of it is we work with a lot of buyers as well. So just give them ideas. What are the buyers looking for? And in different price points, that's very, very important.
Well, what do you mean by that, at different price points?
So whenever you're looking at someone that's an entry-level buyer, having a home that's move-in ready, that they don't have to do anything to them, is hugely important, because most of the people that we see that are first-time buyers, they don't have much or any disposable income. So having a property that's ready for them to move in and just start living, that they don't have to start making repairs or improvements to right away, it is great for the market, because those are the properties those people are looking for, and they're willing to step up and pay a little bit more for them if they're move-in ready and they don't have to do anything.
Cool.
So,
and I guess it's an issue, right? If the home sits on the market too long, that can cause problems, right?
Absolutely, because it's just human nature. When you see something that's on the market for an extended period of time, the mindset is, okay, what's wrong with this property? Why hasn't anybody bought it on there? So having that stuff done, having it in market ready condition, is hugely important on there. And the current market that we're in, it's much more balanced than it was a year or two ago. So it's not by any stretch of the imagination a seller's market, but it's not really a buyer's market either. It's a pretty balanced market at this point in time.
So let's talk about the market. It's June, summer 2025.
Right.
We're here in Bakersfield, Kern County. We're in California, obviously, probably the most expensive real estate market, I would think. But
it's pretty close.
Yeah. Give us some data on the market today.
So locally here, our median home price is about $390,000, and that fluctuates between that and $400. Just depends on the month, which sounds really high to those of us who've been in here in Bakersfield for an extended period of time. But when you look at it, this last month, the state median home price went above $910,000 for the first time ever in history.
Wow.
So Bakersfield is quite the bargain when you look at what it costs to buy a home anywhere else in California. And as far as affordability, we're still the most affordable market in California.
That's great. Yeah, we're 50% off.
Yeah,
apparently.
55% below the state median home price.
And people can come here, I suppose, and have a yard and a pool and
right.
a
And I
three-car
think
garage.
that's a big difference between this market and so many others, is that we don't have a shortage of land here. So most people are, when they're coming from the Bay Area, a lot of places in LA, when they're driving around here, they're very surprised with the size of the streets, because most of our main thoroughfares, streets, they're like freeways.
Right.
And if you've done very much traveling in the older parts of LA and other places, it is dramatic, the difference in the size of streets and just the ability to get around town here. Yards are bigger. Most of the lots that we have here in Bakersfield are substantially larger than most other places in the state. And the biggest reason for that, like I said, we don't have a shortage of land. So, people really enjoy being able to buy a house and have a little bit of yard to actually do stuff. And then the reality of the world that we live in today, how many people work remotely now?
Sure.
So
Right.
geography has become a little less important for most people with their jobs and stuff. So you have the ability to live in a community that you want to live in, that you enjoy living in, and work in a different community. So it's definitely benefited us. So we still see a pretty substantial influx of people from out of the area.
So what advice, if there's someone listening to this and they're thinking about buying a home, or maybe they're in the process, what advice would you give them? Either buying or selling?
Well, buying, if you're looking at buying next year, start now, because there's a process that you need to go through. Probably my number one recommendation is you need to get with a good, knowledgeable lender and start working with them to get you on track. They're going to let you know exactly what you're going to need to do to be ready to purchase. And again, the difference between buying a home and buying virtually anything else that you're ever going to buy, all of that stuff is just an event. You can go pick it up pretty much the same day.
Right.
It doesn't work that way with a home. It's a
Right.
process that you have to go through.
Got it.
And you have to go in order. You can't put step 5 before step 1. It just doesn't work that way. So it's definitely a slower process than most other things. But here's the thing, it's probably the most important purchase you're ever going to make. And when you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, you probably need to make sure everything's done in the proper order.
Yeah.
So it's you're probably the biggest debt that you're going to incur with most people, but it's, in my opinion, it's the only beneficial debt that I can think of, because typically that is one of the only assets that you're ever going to purchase, a physical asset that is going to increase in value. Virtually everything else that we buy decreases in value immediately after we buy it.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, how long have you been a real estate agent, Marvin?
Well, actually working for other people and actually helping them buy and sell, about 20 years. But I've been buying and selling real estate in Bakersfield since 1986. So I got a pretty good idea of what's going on in the market.
Sure. And you've got a good group of clients, and I assume you're doing pretty well. I want to kind of transition to, if there's someone listening, maybe they're looking at joining our networking group and they're a salesperson or they're trying to grow their business. Could you tell us, outside of joining a BNI chapter like ours, what are some of the keys to your success, do you think, as an agent?
Well, I would say that a couple of things. Number one, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and we should use them in that proportion. One of the things that I do is I ask a lot of questions with my clients, because I want them to tell me what they're looking for and just start building those relationships. And again, it gets back to that old adage, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And we do. I mean, I really enjoy helping my clients achieve their goals of home ownership. And, it's obviously a huge financial goal as well. And the reality is that we love to build a relationship with our clients. I really enjoy when I meet one of my clients out in public and I'm able to have a conversation with them. I just enjoy that relationship that we built over years. And I mean, we have clients that I've sold 7, 8, 10 houses for, help them buy and sell and stuff. And I really enjoy that process with that. And then the other, and this is huge and it's so rare these days, is follow through. It just is unbelievable to me in every type of business how poor follow through is with most people. And if you say you're going to do something, just do it.
Right.
And with me, it becomes a priority. I'm kind of like a dog on a bone, man. When there's something that needs to be done, I just have to get it done because it just eats at me until it's done and over with. So, and again, the one big thing with business, regardless of what you do, when there's an issue, that's when you really need to step up. Because so many people, when there becomes an issue and they just start ghosting their clients, and which is a terrible thing to do because you do build reputations, and especially in Bakersfield, we have 500,000-600,000 people here now. It's still a pretty small town.
Right.
And you get a reputation here very quickly, either good or bad. So just take care of your clients. Professionals are the ones that step up when things go sideways. Anybody can be happy and cheerful and have great communication when things are going great. But the professionals are the ones that have that communication when things go sideways. So that's probably the number one thing that I see.
I love it. No, that's perfect advice. I mean, and you've been a member of our BNI chapter for how long roughly?
Well, let me see, what's it, 17 years now, I think.
And you were one of the founding members, right?
Yes, I was the founding member of it.
You were the guy?
Yeah.
Oh, so we have you to blame?
Yes, absolutely. I'm the one. I'll take all the blame for it.
Well, tell us how BNI's helped you grow your business.
Well, again, I would think that our BNI group is probably about 25 to 30% of my total business.
Wow.
And again, just those relationships that I built with the people in the group for some time. I mean, what year did you join? Was it 2010?
I want to say 2009 or 10.
Yeah.
So probably 10 at the latest.
Yeah. So we have several original members of the group.
I've been trying to get out since 2010.
Yeah. So once you're in, you're stuck. We're not letting you go. But it's great having those business relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm really big on doing business with people that I can trust. And with me, a big thing for me is if I have to refer one of my clients to someone, when I make that referral, I put my name on it. And I'm very particular about who I refer people to for that reason, because I want to make sure they're taken care of. And again, I've built some great friendships as well over that time frame. You always have people come and go, regardless of what you're doing. But there are still people that are no longer part of the group that I'm still real good friends with as well. And, life circumstances change as we go through that. But just building those relationships and stuff, it's very, very important.
I love that. I mean, as an example of what you're just saying, I had lunch with a guy yesterday who I met 15 years ago in BNI, Joel Young. Mm-hmm. I ended up hiring one of his sons to work for me for the summer. I mean, you just never know how these relationships are going to grow and build and
absolutely
weave, through your life. Look, we are a networking group. The idea is givers gain. That's our motto. Right. So each member comes into the group or the chapter with, what can I give to the members, right? Can I give a referral? Can I give education? Can I give knowledge? And when everyone comes in with that mentality, our group has really just grown and really flourished through the years. But besides just growing our business, as Marvin touched on, we've been able to form really great relationships where outside of work we can go golfing and fishing and just enjoy life together. And that is the best, when you can kind of do business and do life together. That's really a sweet thing. So come check us out. We meet Tuesday mornings at 7:30. Group of professionals. Our group has been around for 17, 18 years, still going strong. Each year we pass about $2 million of business within the group to each other. So we are a very productive group, and we've been to groups with 75 members, and they don't do as much business as we do. So very efficient, very productive. That's all I really have, Marvin. What do you have to close us out? Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I would just say that as far as the real estate part goes
Yeah.
on there, that it is still the American dream to own your own home. And I always try to get people to understand that you're going to have to pay for housing one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So think about investing in yourself
Sure.
and not investing in your landlord, because if you're renting, you're making someone else wealthy. Why not start working on making yourself wealthy? And again, when you think about currently in this country, the average homeowner nationwide has more than $300,000 in equity in their homes.
Wow.
That's a big chunk. And if you look at the statistics, the majority of wealthy people, real estate is a huge part of their portfolio. So think about investing in yourself, and instead of doing things at the whim of someone else, get your own home, and you can make it, or buy a house, make it your home. You can personalize it the way you want it, and live in an area that you want to live. So and I will say that I bought my first house when I was 21 years old. It was probably the single best financial decision I've ever made in my life. And I've owned dozens of homes since then. And I will tell you, it all started with that very first home. And it doesn't have to be your dream home. Just get in the game.
Perfect. Yeah. So think about buying a home and think about joining our BNI chapter. Come check us out. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Marvin, thanks for being here. You're the man. Always a good time. And we'll see you next week.